Okay, so I was a bit disappointed to watch the most recent Dave Rubin posts on YouTube. He was being interviewed with a guy called John Lennox. I forget who the interviewer was or the moderator. I don't think it was a debate. I think it was more of a conversation. But so I had known for a while that Dave Rubin started believing in God or something, and I guess I saw that interview just now, and I thought I felt I kind of felt like I lost, or the atheist had lost a soldier in Dave Rubin. But he was honest. He said he believes there is something out there that is doing something and it's good. And John Lennox, who's a mathematician, I've never heard of him before, actually said that he believes that God gives us science. And it was reminiscent of a Cartesian approach to consciousness, in which Descartes basically said that solipsism can't be true because God must be an external source that gives us our rationality when it comes to empirical data and our senses and knowing the world. In other words, God would not have been cruel enough to basically fool us into thinking that there is a world when really we are, or I shouldn't say we, when I am all that there is. He found solipsism, Descartes, I think, to be a little bit cruel if it were true. So he kind of came up with God as the ricocheting point for externality, and the way we see and feel the world out. But this is going to be a good old-fashioned atheist kind of video, because I want to say again that most people who believe in God, even if they don't have a religion, tend to give a defining quality of God a goodness, an inherent goodness. But I say, it brings up all sorts of questions, right? Like, I mean, first of all, you have to kind of define what God is. You can't work with some fuzzy kind of like defaulted mode of thinking, and just label that whole mess God and slap a good label on it, right? Like, just slap a sticker on it saying good. Because you have a lot of explaining to do, and these are basic arguments, basic atheistic arguments, and you'll see them in memes and all that stuff all the time. But I mean, the world continues to be a world filled with strife, with suffering, with hunger, with disease, with broken families, with unhappiness, with did I say hunger? Yeah, I'm hungry, by the way, but hunger, and you wonder, like, what does God do? Like what is he doing? You know what I mean? I guess you would necessarily have to invent the devil or a source of evil if God is good. But then you run into questions of, like, well, does God have free will? Like, can God just be good? Because if he can just be good, then he doesn't have free will, and that doesn't really lead to omniscience or omnipotence or omnibenevolence, because there's a weakness, there's a crack in his argument, in his composure, in his makeup, right? So I feel a lot of what people are thinking, and there's this trend these days to basically talk about atheists coming around, where we're finally realizing, oh yeah, God, yeah, I get it now, God. But I refuse to believe that, because on self-examination, I find that a lot of what I think about as God is a kind of a motive attachment to like these ideas that I grew up with, as a child. I went to a Christian school first, and then I went to an Islamic school, and these childhood memories of religious festivals and religious ritual kind of have infested my mind for a long time, and still do. I mean, to this day, I've been trying to break the habit of saying thank God, but every time I say it, I say thank God, and every time I say it, I feel like good, and then I feel bad, because I know it's a habit I'm just trying to break. But I mean, it's just that we live in a culture, a global culture, where God is just so invasive. But I think it's invasive in this very emotional way, as opposed to having any scientific truth or any scientific proof at all. So John Lennox and Dave Rubin both have this kind of this mystery about God, and I think a lot of times people confuse that mystery of God with an all-encompassing kind of feeling. You know what I mean? Because it is unknown, it means it's all around us. Because there's a lot of stuff we don't know, and we just, like I said, we just slap the God label on it and say that's good, check mark, God. Anyway, that's all I want to say. I want to say still to this point, even though we've lost a soldier in Dave, I do not believe in God. Um, I see no reason to, and I feel a lot of what it is an emotional attachment that would not be here without if we had never existed. If we come into this world with our gods and with our emotions and stirrings about the mystery of the universe. If we weren't here, that wouldn't exist. Anyway, that's all. Bye.